Welcome to Creative Power, a podcast designed to help you claim the full spectrum of your creative potential. I'm Camilla Fellis-Arnold, and I'm passionate about discussing how we change the face of both the creative industries and how we interact with creativity itself, so that it nourishes our soul and helps us express ourselves with alignment, flow, and authenticity. Let's get started. Welcome to Creative Power. This week has been feeling pretty heavy for me with the news of the war in Ukraine. And I've talked about it before that in survival or stressful situations, one of the first things that stops is our creative flow. It can be really difficult for those of us who are on the outside, who are in the other countries watching the horror unfold, because of course we feel helpless to the conflict. But for those of us who are on the outside, with creativity as our main line of work, or it's an integral part of our being and overall happiness, that stall in our creativity can feel really stressful as well as what else is going on in the world. So today I want to talk about what we can do to support ourselves when we feel emotionally splayed all over the carpet. And to that end, I want to talk about journaling and journal therapy, which I did as a CPD training a couple of years ago. It's something that I absolutely love doing because it's so insightful, so healing, and I think right now it's a great thing to do to help unpack all the emotions that we're experiencing, because there is so much going on in the world right now. There's fear, confusion, hope, despair. We're all wondering what these events mean for our futures, both collectively and individually. It's a lot to deal with. I'm sure you've heard of journaling already, so I feel it's important to clear up the difference in the meaning of some of the words, like diary writing, journaling, and journal therapy, because we all come to this with preconceived ideas of what we think it is. So, diary writing is probably what you think when I talk about journaling. Diary writing is probably what you actually are thinking about. It's what people do usually before bed when we write about our day. It's a daily record of events. Diary writing is freeform. There's no structure to it. You're just writing down thoughts and details about the day. It's a really good way to empty your head, empty your brain before bed of everything that happened. A lot of people find that writing in their diary just before bed just helps them sleep because they've just offloaded all the stuff that happened. But that's where it diverges from journaling and journal therapy. Journaling is much more directed and structured than diary writing. It typically starts with a prompt, a question, or an exercise, and your writing will flow from there. Journaling, it can still record events like you would in diary writing, but the difference lies that during a journaling session, after you've done the main portion of the writing in response to a prompt, you analyse what comes up. The thoughts, events, emotions, you don't just write them down and forget about them. With journaling, you actually examine and analyse them for fresh insight, learning, and healing. You may be able to do this alone, or this is when it can move into more journal therapy. It can also be an exercise supported by a therapist, health professional, or even a coach like myself. Journaling can help you build your confidence, create more joy and gratefulness in your life, and it can help you overcome negative past experiences and trauma. It can reduce stress and anxiety, help you regulate emotions, and build emotional intelligence. Journaling can even boost your working memory, as it kind of works like defragging a computer. Think about the way we store memories or traumatic events as fragmented thoughts. Have you ever opened a cupboard filled to the brim and just shoved something in any available space and then shut the door really quickly? That's kind of what the brain does with our memories. So when we journal on a specific event, we pull all these strands together from all the places that it's been left fragmented in our mind and turn it into one continuous train of thought, which is more comprehensive, because we are taking the time to really unpack the entire event or memory. It gives our brain time to bring up the little details we thought we'd forgotten about, but actually they were just stuck in a shoebox at the back of the metaphorical cupboard of our minds. Piecing all these little details together not only gives us a much clearer picture of what happened, but it helps us to process it better. Journaling can even be done in group settings. This creates a sense of community, belonging, and provides fresh perspectives outside of our own. Group journal classes can help you feel less alone, and you can learn new things about yourself, even just by listening to people talk about their own challenges. As I'm even recording this, I'm genuinely thinking about maybe running some group journaling classes to support this. So if it's something that you're interested in, sign up to my newsletter. I'll link it in the show notes, and you'll be the first to hear it when I'm doing something in the space. But obviously, I'm going to have to take some time to organise that. In the meantime, what can you do right now to help yourself with journaling? You absolutely can do it for yourself. And it's not as difficult as you think. So here are some basics on getting started. First of all, you do not need fancy equipment to begin journaling. A pen and a piece of paper will do the job just fine. Yes, you can choose yourself a beautiful pen and notebook if you want to, but it's not necessary. This isn't about perfection. This is about processing and healing. So start with what's available to you. You can type on the computer, but journaling generally works better when it's handwritten because it activates more areas of the brain. However, if writing by hand is not accessible to you for any reason, don't worry about it. Typing will still work. Don't worry about your writing being messy either, because no one will read it except you, unless you choose to share it. This is first and foremost intended as private writing for you to process thoughts and emotions, so it can be sloppy. It doesn't have to be super neat. It's more about getting the thoughts out of your head, getting the emotions out of you and onto paper. So with that in mind, the best piece of advice I can give you is don't hold back. Don't filter your thoughts. If you're worried that someone might see what you've written, you can burn the paper later. Actually, that might work quite nicely as a ceremonial way of letting go of the event and closing that chapter of pain in your life. You don't have to do that, of course. But seriously, if you are worried about other people reading it, you won't be truly honest with yourself. And it's important to remember when you do this, it is safe for you to write whatever you want when you are journaling. So really go for it and find a way to make it safe. So to support this, it's important to create a space that feels safe for you to journal. Block out the time in your schedule so that you know you won't be disturbed. Look at what will help you block out the rest of the world while you're writing. Is it background music, white noise, burning candles or incense? Is it sitting inside a cocoon of blankets and turning off all the tech? Do whatever makes you feel totally safe, comfortable and private when you sit down to journal, because it can bring up a lot of emotion. And you don't want to interrupt that process, so give yourself the time you need, the time you deserve to do it. You can even think about what you need at the end of your journaling session to kind of gather your thoughts and get yourself feeling back in your body. Perhaps you need some quiet time with your thoughts, maybe that's enough. Maybe a walk, going for a walk or eating some food will help you feel more centered and grounded. A couple of other things to remember. Date everything, because if you do decide to keep the reflections, you can look at them at a later date and track your progress. And also, be clear on why you are doing the journaling. This isn't free writing like a diary. Come to journaling with the intention of working through an event, memory, or emotion. Being clear on what you're hoping to achieve from the journaling session will help you stretch beyond a simple record of events and allow you to actually unpack and heal it. So now you know some basics of journaling. What kind of prompts and exercises could we do that would support how we're feeling at the moment? The one thing you could do is list writing. Write a list. I know it sounds simple and obvious, but here we go. Bear with me. Write a list of all the things that are making you feel, say, anxious, fearful, sad, any other emotion you're feeling. You can also do this for positive emotions too, like things you are grateful for in life right now. I realise that may be harder to do right now, so do what feels right for you. The idea is that you write the list without stopping. Keep drilling down, keep going, unfiltered, uncensored. Don't overthink it. This list can help you connect the dots in what situations are triggering certain feelings for you. And then this is where it becomes more than just a list of scary things. Take time to examine the list. Why do they make you feel like that? What can you do about them? How much truth is there behind these things on your list? This is where you start to filter out what fears are just noise and what things you can actually take action over to regain a sense of control and momentum to move forward. Another exercise that could work really well is the unsent letter. With war on our minds, it's really easy to think about our own mortality. What ifs can spiral out of control in our heads, and suddenly you can be filled with regrets for things you've said and done, people you've hurt, or people who've hurt you. Or it could even be that someone is inaccessible for whichever reason. Maybe they passed away and you didn't get a chance to say everything you wanted to say. All of this is where the unsent letter can work really well, because it's your chance to be completely honest and say everything on your mind, knowing that it won't be seen by that person. And in the case of the situation we're seeing unfold in the world right now, the letter doesn't even have to be to a specific person. It could be to a place. For example, some people use unsent letters. They write to their new home, or they thank their old home when they're letting it go. You could write the letter to yourself now, or even your younger or future self, and share insights and wisdom with them. You could write a letter to your emotion of fear, whatever feels right to you. Once you've written that letter, as with any journaling exercise, the reflection of what you've written is what moves this into a tool for healing ourselves. Return to what you've written. Acknowledge it. Reread and reflect on it. And then ask yourself, what new thoughts and feelings come up as you read back over those words? Have you written anything that is surprising? Do you accept what you wrote? What fresh insight or new perspectives have you gained on the situation that you've written about? Think about whether the writing or reflection process has brought up any physical reactions. Why do you think that happened? Has writing about it, about this event, this memory, whatever it is, has writing about it changed how you feel about the situation? And most importantly, reflect on what can you do now? Has what you've written inspired any action or ideas within you that you could take forward? It could be that the exercise has made you realise you have more control over the situation than you originally thought, or that there are more actions that you could take that would support you moving forward. You could realise through the journaling that you need extra help to support your healing from a professional, or it could be that there's a person that you actually need to talk to in order to gain closure, seek forgiveness, or something else entirely. It is these actions and insights that can help you find a way to move forward, which is what we all need right now. It's very easy to sit there feeling paralysed and helpless, but this can create more internal stress for ourselves. So if you're feeling low, and the only thing you can do for yourself is spend 20 minutes journaling on how you feel about what is going on in the world right now, then that's 20 minutes well spent helping you make sense of things and your feelings. Self-care isn't all bubble baths, face masks and smoothies. Sometimes self-care is sitting down with a pen and paper and facing our emotions head on, writing about them, writing with them, and really unpacking them to free ourselves from their grasp. Honestly, I've been journaling daily for over a year now, and it's a really powerful tool that anyone can do. However, if you're feeling a bit unsure where to start, or feel that you need more support in the process, as I said earlier, I will be setting up some group journaling around this off the back of this, so sign up for my newsletter if you want to be in the know about when it runs, as it's only just come up as I talk about this, as I record this episode, so I don't have any details yet. I'll be honest and say this episode wasn't what I planned to talk about at all today, but personally, I woke up feeling so helpless. The world felt so heavy this morning that my plan just went out of the window in favour of talking about something that can genuinely help us as individuals right now. So, to that end, I'm not exactly organised in running the group journaling as of yet, but I will be, so stay tuned for that. But that's how these things happen, right? Sometimes in situations like this, we stop being creative in our usual ways, and we start to come up with solutions out of necessity, much like this episode. Giving ourselves permission to not be our usual creative selves in these circumstances is really important, and it also makes way for unexpected answers to our prayers. If this is your first time journaling off the back of this episode, I wish you the best of luck, and I really, really hope it helps you. Do let me know how you get on, and send me a message if you have more questions, as I can always do a follow-up episode with more detail. And finally, it's been a really tough week, so make time to be kind to yourself today. Thanks for listening to Creative Power today. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and consider leaving a review. To find out more ways you can connect or work with me, please visit www.camillafellisarnold.com/creative power.